there, my name is Jasmine Sky and I'm here today with another book tag video to talk about some of my favorite books because it's just that kind of day and I'm just gonna do that instead of doing a longer, more in-depth discussion video. We'll leave that for next time. So, the other reason I want to do this tag right now is because this is the stay-at-home book tag to help remind you that you should be staying at home, please, because COVID in the US is a serious issue and people are dying, and so please stay at home as much as you can. Wear your masks whenever you're not at home, wash your hands, stay away from people, find ways to socially engage with each other via the internet, and yeah, be safe. That is my plea for you. Be safe and do stuff at home. Get your TBR read, watch some TV shows, anything like that. Yeah, and along those lines of serious issues, for the last many videos, all of the videos of this channel, and still continue for this video, I have links to support specifically Black trans women in my description because Black trans women are the most at-risk population. Please go ahead and donate, retweet, do whatever you can to support Black trans women. So this tag is pretty short, so we're just gonna kind of fly through it and talk about some books, and you know, maybe hopefully it'll encourage you to do this tag as well and to continue to encourage each other to stay at home. Yeah, so I am here repping the stay at home game with like a super loose kind of see-through t-shirt and a messy bun, and like, it's great, right? This tag was originally created by Paperback Princess. I'll link the original video in the description, but I watched it on Rachel's channel of Boston Book Biddy, so I will link both of those in the description below. And let's get started. Number one, laying in bed, talk about a book that you've read in a day. There's a lot of books that I've read in a day, to be honest, but I think for most people, it is very, very easy to read the Tor novellas in a day. Tor novellas, some of the more popular Tor novellas include Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire is a very popular Tor novella, but this is one that I particularly enjoyed, and the sequel is coming out very soon, so I'm really, really excited to have that when that arrives. This is Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh, and this is a beautiful, gay, sort of modern fantasy, but it's got this very folklore vibe to it that I really, really love. It's actually a somewhat retelling of the Green Man myth. So for instance, if you know, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight is a pretty popular version of the Green Man myth, but the Green Man myth exists in a bunch of different cultures, and this one is not related to Sir Gawain as much as it's just a Green Man myth in general. It feels very much like a unique Green Man myth that was just created itself, and I adored it, and I'm really excited for the sequel, like I said. So if you want a fun novella that you can just consume in one sitting, any of the Tor novellas are a great choice, but this is one that I particularly recommend for you to check out. Number two, snacking. Talk about a guilty pleasure book. Now, I try my hardest not to snack a lot, and in that same way, I try my hardest not to read or consume things that I honestly would feel guilty about. But there is a recent series that I feel very guilty about continuing to consume or continuing to engage with the fandom, and that is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. For those of you who have not learned yet or seen yet, J.K. Rowling has recently and in the past, but it has become even more apparent recently, made some very, very transphobic comments and has really shown herself to be a TERF in a very overt way and a very, very, very problematic way. So I'm going to link some articles down in the description so you can educate yourself if you don't know about it, but I have come to the conclusion that supporting Harry Potter is something that I don't want to do, and so this is probably the last time I'm going to talk about Harry Potter on this channel for a very long time. We'll see what happens in the future. I really do sincerely hope that J.K. Rowling comes to be better educated and has a change of heart and learns what she has been saying has been extremely harmful to the trans community. But if she does not, then I am going to stop supporting this series. I'm going to stop talking about it, no matter how much I love this fandom and how much this series is a part of my childhood. it's no longer ethically right for me to give it any more attention. So once again, support Black trans women in the description below and read up on why you should no longer support J.K. Rowling. And that is my guilty pleasure answer. Let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Number 3 is Netflix. Talk about a series that you want to start. One of the series that's been on my TBR for a while is the Grisha-verse. This is the original Grisha trilogy, which starts with Shadow and Bone. This is by Leigh Bardugo. And then the very, very, very hyped and popular duology that follows it starts with Six of Crows. And this universe I am very interested in. I really do think that I will love Six of Crows, judging by what everyone says about this duology. Yet I am the kind of person that has a really hard time reading things out of order. So I really, really want to read the original trilogy first, but I do not know if I'm going to like the original trilogy, so I've been putting it off. And I think I've come to the conclusion that I need to start the original trilogy, and if I am not enjoying it, then I'm just going to put it down, not force myself to finish it, and then read the Six of Crows duology, because everyone says that Leigh Bardugo's writing made a huge jump from the original Grisha trilogy to the Six of Crows duology, and I'm really, really interested, and I really want to know what all the hype is about with this series. Also, there is in fact a TV show adaptation of this series, specifically this series, but I think it includes characters from this series as well. So once I've read it, then maybe I can go check out the TV show adaptation as well and enjoy that. So this is on my TBR at some point. Number 4 is Deep Clean. Talk about a book that's been on your TBR for ages. The Grisha trilogy is an example of a book that's been on my TBR since I kind of started watching BookTube, which has been several years now. But if we want to go with something that has been on my TBR for an insanely long time, we're gonna go with The Complete Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This has been on my TBR since high school, so I am now post-graduate school. That tells you how long this has been on my TBR. I read this in a high school history class. I didn't read the whole thing. I read a chapter of this in one of my high school history classes, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then I found the full complete collection, and I bought it, and I wanted to read the whole thing. This is a graphic novel memoir about the revolution in Iran. It is something that I feel like I want to educate myself more on, and you know, graphic novel memoirs I think are particularly poignant. This has gotta happen at some point. I know it's gonna make me cry, and I have been putting it off because I don't tend to reach for historical fiction or even memoirs very often, so at some point this is happening. Number 5 is Animal Crossing. Talk about a book you bought recently because of the hype. For me, I think the most hyped book that I bought purely because of the hype is The Selection by Kiera Cass. I have been following Kiera Cass's sort of author journey for almost since this book came out. I found her YouTube channel and I've been following. She used to do a lot. She was actually kind of one of the OG author tubers. She just hasn't posted videos in a really long time. But I really, really enjoyed watching her author videos, and I wanted to support her for that. But when she talked about this series and when I heard about this series, I didn't think it was something I would like because I don't tend to like dystopian and I don't tend to like love triangles. That being said, so many people hype this book. So many people say it's just so much fun to read, even though the sequel series people don't really like. The same people who in their BookTube videos talk about not loving the sequel series still talk about how much this original trilogy is just fun and engaging to this day, and that I finally caved and was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, see what the hype is about. So I recently bought this book, and we'll see if I do find it entertaining or if my original gut reaction that I wouldn't like it is right. I don't know. I have to give it a fair chance at some point, and I do really adore this cover. I think this is one of the most beautiful covers. I know that the trend of girls with pretty dresses on covers is kind of overdone, but I want to say this was one of the first that kind of kicked off that trend, and from the moment it came out and the cover was revealed to now, it still remains one of my favorite covers of all time. So I'm kind of glad that I own this book regardless. Number 6 is Productivity. Talk about a book that had an impact on you or helped you learn something. I'm going to talk about The Geek Feminist Revolution by Kameron Hurley. This is a series of essays by Hugo Award winner Kameron Hurley, who is a science fiction author. She writes grimdark science fiction and science fantasy, so I haven't actually read any of her actual fiction books because I don't like grimdark, but I have read all of her essays. She has them up for free, many of them up for free on her website, so you can go check them out. I read this entire essay collection because of my MFA program. It was assigned to read as part of one of my classes from my MFA program, and as you can tell, these are all the essays that particularly resonated with me and that I wanted to go back and reread at some point. There are essays about writing and about being an author. There are essays about racism, about human empathy. There are essays about microaggressions and how you can write. There's one in particular I remember that really taught me a lot, which is that even if you are a queer author writing queer stories, you can still accidentally fall into these traps in your writing that still hurt members of the queer community. And yeah, so I learned a lot because of this essay collection. I really appreciate this essay collection. One of the essays in this won a Hugo Award for Best Essay, which tells you how good this essay collection was. So especially for my fellow author tubers, I think this is a really good one, but also just for anyone, there's a lot to get out of this essay collection, and I particularly enjoyed it. Number 7 is FaceTime, highlight a book that was gifted to you. I'm gonna go with The Shambling Guide to New York City by Mur Lafferty. This one was actually gifted to me as part of the Stonecoast program. Mur Lafferty is an alumni of the Stonecoast program, my MFA program, and also is a visiting professor occasionally at the Stonecoast program. And the last time I was at my very last residency at the Stonecoast program, there was a bunch of books by alumni and visiting faculty members that were on the table that you could grab, and so I took this one because it is an urban fantasy about a woman in New York City wherein there is a bunch of like creatures and things. So I know one of her more recent novels was Hugo nominated, this one was not, but I love a good urban fantasy story, so at some point I am going to pick this one up. Number 8 is self-care. Talk about something you've done recently to look after yourself. For me, what I did was reorganize my bookshelves. You'll see in my end card and section that I had rainbow shelves for the month of June. I thought I would really enjoy them. I thought they'd be really fun to have rainbow shelves, and yet I really did not like the functionality of rainbow shelves. It was not my favorite. I really enjoy being able to reach for series being all together. I really enjoy being able to reach for books based on genre. So the way my shelves are organized right now is based on genre. I've got like adult fantasy, young adult contemporary fantasy, adult contemporary fantasy, my contemporary, my science fiction, etc., etc., etc. Science fiction is further up. But anyway, so I reorganized my shelves at the end of June. I didn't even make it to the entirety of Pride Month before I decided that rainbow shelves were not working for me, and that was great. That was definitely a moment of self-care because I love reorganizing things and organizing things, so that was fun, and trying to think about how I would organize my shelves was really fun, and B, it's now much more functional for me and I really enjoy it. So I actually have the video of me reorganizing my shelves, but I wasn't sure if it was something that you guys would like to watch. So if you are interested in watching me reorganize my shelves and talk through the process of reorganizing my shelves, please let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, that's the explanation as to why my end card picture has rainbow shelves and my shelves are not rainbow. I still love the aesthetics of the rainbow shelves, but I didn't want to keep them in actuality. And number 9, the final question, which is the bonus question, name a book coming out soon. I am going to highlight Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas along the same lines of supporting trans people, trans authors, things like that. Aiden Thomas is a trans author, and this is a book about a trans boy with magic and magic related to the dead. It looks awesome. Audrey of Perpetual Pages has a whole book talk saying why you should read this book, and it definitely convinced me to pre-order this book. This one comes out, I believe, in October, but I'll put the release date down below it so you can see. And yeah, I highly encourage you if you are interested in contemporary fantasy, because I think it's a good book to support, and also from what everyone who's had ARCs has been saying, a really, really fun book. I also love Aiden Thomas also has an MFA in creative writing, so like woo, repping the MFA alumni. So that's that. That was all of the questions with the stay-at-home book tag. I am going to tag any of you who are watching if you want to go ahead and do this tag, and please, if you have done or will do this tag, let me know in the comments, link to your video. I would love to watch it. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all of that, and I look forward to talking with you in the comments.